Hi Stampers, this is Karen Phillip. I'm a Stampin Up Demonstrator and I'm pleased to show you how to make this card. And I got the idea from the Stampin Up Annual Catalog 21-22 version, and it's this right here. So this is my version of it. It's on page 26 in the catalog. And we will be using the Enjoy the Moment stamp set, which is right here. So let's get started. To get this wavy sort of background for the pod and the sentiment, I use the diorama dies, and a lot of the this is what they look like, and a lot of people use them in water kind of things, but I decided to make this, it kind of flows with the design that we have going here. So that's how I got this kind of different weird background. Okay, so now I need a kit. So here's the kit. This is what club members get. And inside is a piece for the sentiment, and it's also got a little 2 3/4 inch square piece, and that will be for your sample. And then you have a piece of paper that's 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, along with your other pieces. And this piece is, I believe it's 3 1/2 by 4 3/4. Nope, it's 3 1/4. Wait, 3 1/2 by 4 3/4. Yes. Okay. So that's what we're starting with. We'll first take our piece of paper, and you'll need stamping blends and Sahara sand I'm using, and Mary Merlot for this technique. So I'm going to take the paper, I'll put this under here, and I'll put this under here so you can kind of see what I'm doing. Alright, I'm taking a piece of paper and I'm folding it, or I'm tearing it lengthwise, kind of in the middle, and just sort of doing a wavy sort of paper cut. And so when we put it on our paper, we're putting it face to face so that this goes down, so they match. You can do it this, I guess, like if it were different, then you kind of lose the effect that we were going for. So the first thing I'm doing is taking some removable tape. You don't have to do this, but it makes it a lot easier. You could use Post-it notes as well, but this seemed to work for me. So I'm putting the removable tape on the top, taking my card piece, my white piece, and I'm putting it about 1 inch down from the top. You can see here it's about 1 inch down, and it works. You could do this 2 ways. You could tape this down to your background or to your mat, or you could just fold this over, and then that also keeps it in place. And then you can see where you're at. Then we'll take the other piece. Again, use removable, don't use permanent. So you figure you want this to be about inch, maybe 2 1.5 inches, maybe about 1.5 inches. You don't have to measure, but just kind of evenly on the top and bottom. Same thing. You can just fold this over, and now you have. There we go. You can see this is the part that will be colored. If you go too small, then you will kind of lose the design of it. You can. I think I'm going to move this one down just a little bit. So there, now I have a bigger image that I'll be doing here. Okay. So the first thing we'll do is take our blends, and I'm going to use Sahara sand first. You could use any colors. And I'm tapping it when I use the blends I tap it onto the ink pad. I don't get the ink by swirling it. I just don't think that's good for the stamp pad personally, but I've seen people do it different ways. Piece of hair on here. Okay, so and again I use my fingertip to hold it in place because these are very flexible. You'll start on one side and you'll go off of the paper to start with and sort of make a little line. It doesn't look like much until you're, I think I need to add ink a little bit to my Sahara sand here. And you just sort of randomly put spots of ink on there in between your little, and so this is where it's nice to have this down. Again, you can use post-it notes, but the self-adhe or the, what do you call this, the removable glue works well. Alright, now we're going to take the Mary Merlot, and now this one is a little juicier, I know, so I'm going to for sure do this off a little bit and then bring it in, otherwise it gets so dark and you get a big blob. And I'm just sort of going in between and over the other color. You can leave a little white if you'd like. So there, it went a little darker than I wanted, but that's okay. It's the artistic look. Okay, so now we have this kind of blobby look. It's not the prettiest, but when we're finished it'll be really cool. So I'm leaving the Mary Merlot out. Now you don't want to take this paper off yet because now we have to stamp it. And I'm stamping it in early espresso, and I'm using the stamps from the stamp set, and this is like a whirlybird. I call them whirlybirds. I know there's something else, but they're whirlybirds to me. Random stamping. When you random stamp, I found it works nicely if you just turn your piece. So I'm starting straight, turn it 90 degrees, keep my stamps in the same position, but you can see they're nice and random here just by moving your paper. So I've just found that that kind of works nicely for, then they're not all, well, they typically aren't in the same position or same way that you don't want it to be. Okay, oops, yeah, we're done with that. Then we will use the Mary Merlot and just stamp these little seeds in between. And these you don't have to do as, you can do them randomly. I'm just sort of doing them in between the spaces here, like that. And now that's all you need to stamp. So we will remove this paper, and if you have your little sample piece that you want to put on your sample cheat sheet, then you would use this paper again for your sample. And that's how it looks. It's a nice, it's called Faux tearing. I don't think I even mentioned that. So it's just a nice flat image. You could just stamp on this and you have a nice background too, without the extra layers. Next we will stamp our sentiment and our image on this little weird looking piece, and that I'm stamping in early espresso. I'm using the pod in that. I don't know what they're called. And this fits just nicely in this space. And then I'm taking a little piece of cardstock, and it says just a little note, which is also in that stamp set. Put that in there. Also in espresso. And on the inside, if you'd like, you could stamp some of the pod. I did the whirlybird and the little seed things in there. That works. Okay, so now we will attach everything, put our card together. This goes on the Mary Merlot. It's 3 3/4 by 5, and then this piece goes on top, just on the white. It's Sahara Sand, Mary Merlot, and white. And again, you can decide which way you want your design to go. We will put on the the Mary Merlot blob, bigger than the other, and it does have a specific, these do line up, so you have to make sure you put this on the correct way. And again, this is just flat. And then a little note I have cut out just around it. Oops, got a little closer. And then I did dimensionalize that with just some little pieces of dimensionals. So put one here, and put one here, and put that on the top. And then it seemed like it needed a little something, so I took some artistic, I believe they're artistically, what are they called? They are called Artistry Bloom Sequins. And they have this kind of a Merlot color, I guess. And we will put these on. I just put 3 of them on, a big one and 2 little ones. And you can put them wherever. Usually 3 is a good number. I like to put like 2 together. There. And now we have this really pretty card and just a little note. So I hope you enjoyed watching how to do this technique, and go try it. Thanks for watching and have a great day.